Hi everyone, Robin Shea here. It's day 19 of Before the Fork, the 28-day experience. And as you saw in the heading of tonight's message, phase 2 comes to an end tonight. That's right, today is the last day of phase 2. So I thought that it would be, I wish I could sit this down so I can read on my book. Let's see. Oh, fingers crossed. That's not going to work. All right, that's okay. I'm going to hold this and hold the book at the same time. So I thought it would be a good idea to just kind of recap what phase 2 is intended for, what hopefully you experienced every day of phase 2. And I'm going to touch briefly on what we can be looking for moving into phase 3. So phase 2 is by far the most challenging phase of the entire program. And it's the phase of the program where we lean into all of the changes, all of the discomfort. We leave the land of familiar and we venture into the land of the unknown. And we try to keep ourselves in the land of the unknown, leaning into faith and leaning into the discomfort of change. Hi, Kim. Change is so very challenging. Anytime that we're trying to rewrite a program, we're going to run into incredible opposition from just our mind itself, trying to protect us from moving away from the familiar. So my prayer for you during this time is that you felt it, that you felt the discomfort, that you stuck it through, that you leaned into the discomfort knowing that that is exactly what you're supposed to be feeling. The gnawing hunger pains at night, not out of starvation, but those gnawing hunger pains of, wait, you're not doing what I'm used to you doing. What is going on here? And your physical body kind of freaking out a little bit. I hope that you felt it in the challenges of your mind, trying to recreate situations in your life that otherwise were on automatic pilot, completely on automatic pilot. You had to use this little bit. Hi, Deborah. Hi, everyone joining. You had to use this recently evolved part of our mind or brain, the forebrain, the prefrontal cortex. You had to ask it to take a leading role in your life. You had to exercise that prefrontal cortex like an athlete trains its body. It had to go from being 4% conscious when you're unaware of how you're living and you're just running through life on your daily automatic pilot mode, to asking it to step up and really help you make these changes. So phase 2, if it was hard for you, that's exactly what it was supposed to be. It is so challenging, yet none of the reward is possible without it. None of phase 3 or 4 is possible without living in phase 2. Let's see, we have phase 2 running from day 4 through day 20. So for a little over 2 weeks, you're submerged in this process of reprogramming your mind. Is everything going to stick? Absolutely not. But are some things going to stick? You better believe that some things are going to stick, because you just created some better ways to do things. You created things in your life that serve you better. So we have to identify what's working and what's not working. And that's what we do when we move into phase 3. We're going to start identifying and refining your tips, tools, and techniques. Okay? So let's look a little bit more at what phase 2 was all about. I would love for y'all to share with me some of your most triumphant moments. I think I shared one with y'all the other day, and it was when I went to bed. I was really hungry, and I had to really talk myself off the carbohydrate ledge that happens to a lot of us. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, those carbohydrates release serotonin. Serotonin is very relaxing, which is why a lot of us will get those carbohydrate surges, the hunger surges in the late hours of the evening. We're looking for a little sleep aid, and that can be found in the carbohydrates. So it was a couple weeks ago, right at kind of the beginning of phase 2, and I was going to bed very depleted. I was hungry, and I had to make an association to my hunger pains to my success. And I did that through a quick meditation, and just knowing that if I went to bed with that little bit of gnawing in my stomach, that little bit of, oh, I'd love to go dip me a bowl of ice cream or whatever the go-to is, knowing that I would love how I felt in the morning. And I did. So please share with me some of your most challenging moments with your nutrition plan. And I would still love to know what nutrition plan you moved into. Now, with all that being said, just because we're moving into phase 3 does not mean you stop your nutrition plan. It absolutely does not mean that you abandon what you have chosen to do for the 28 days. What you chose to do those 28 days, that carries on. We're going to do it through the entire 4 phases. But what we are doing is we're going to stop adding layers on top. We're going to back off of adding layers of challenge on top. Rest where you are. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to greet you in the morning with a lot of detailed information on how we're going to refine our tips, tools, and techniques, how we're going to reflect back on our contrast, whether it's a success or a failure, that's irrelevant. We all have our share of success. We all have our share of failure in phase 2. That is definitely a common bond between every one of us when you're moving through the program. It's not until we get into the last phase, phase 4, that we're actually going to be recognizing the beauty in what has stuck. And then we'll be preparing our minds to re-up the program again, but we're going to start at a higher set point. So you will never be as challenged as you were this time in the 28 days, but you will be challenged in new ways. And so that's all we do at the end of the 4 phases. We just re-up and we start again. You may take a week or 2 off, a little breather, but then we're going to start again. So please share with me some of your challenges. I would love to know your victories. I would love to know what you learned during phase 2. How did phase 2 serve you? Did you fall in love with contrast? Contrast is life's only teacher. Contrast is so brilliant, and it's so beautiful, and it's God's compass. And I love to think of it like that. I love to think that God wants none of us to feel pain. He wants none of us to feel sadness and all of the rudimentary emotions that are found in the red and the green zone. God wants us to experience joy. So, hi Carla, hi everyone joining. So, because we know that that's God's alignment for our life, we have to learn to read our emotional map in order to get us there. So we can look at contrast as the discomfort that we live in, but we have to look at it a little bit deeper. Now, is going to bed with a gnawing stomach, is that discomfort? Absolutely. I was uncomfortable. I was physically uncomfortable. Hi, Michelle. But at the same time, was the reward greater than the discomfort? Absolutely. So does that mean that God won't provide challenge? No, God is going to grow you through challenge, but through a joyous challenge. So when you're feeling pain for pain's sake, if there were no benefits to me going to bed with that gnawing in my stomach, that's not God's will. But God opened my eyes and opened my heart to recognize the joy on the other side of that momentary discomfort. Now, there are so many emotions in life that don't have a reward. Yet we choose to experience those feelings anyway. And we choose to experience those feelings again and again and again. And that is what I'm talking about when I say God uses your emotions as your compass. If there's no reward on the other side of the momentary struggle, then that is God asking you to turn away from that emotion totally. Climb up the happiness ladder. Learn the self-soothing. That's God's will for your life. He does not want you mired down in red and yellow zone emotions. Momentary discomfort, momentary physical discomfort, momentary emotional discomfort. How many of us as parents want to spare our child any kind of struggle? So we're very self-sacrificing, and we do things for our children that they should be doing for themselves. So momentarily, we feel that pain of really wanting to care for our children, but we know that we're denying them growth opportunities. So on the other side of that struggle is a reward. So when you're hurting, when you're in a situation with emotional pain, back away a little bit and say, is there a reward on the other side of that emotional struggle? And if there is not a reward on the other side of that emotional struggle, hi Tammy, then that is God redirecting your emotions, telling you it's okay to let go of the false pride. It's okay to let go of the guilt, the anger, the frustration, and start to corral your emotions and climb you up that happiness ladder. So contrast should have been alive and well in your physical body. Perhaps even emotional contrast should have been alive and well during this phase 2 process. And the polarity between the two, meaning the depths of despair versus the ultimate joy, should have been tremendous, because you were literally in the frying pan of the transformational process. So as much as it may not seem like a very nice thing to do, I hope that you felt it in all of its depth. And I hope that it stung. And I hope that it made your heart open and your eyes open and your mind open to the possibility, because as bad as it hurt is as good as it can feel when you move on the other side of it. So the message tonight is get ready, because we're going to move into phase 3 tomorrow, and I'll have a little expanded video for you in the morning. I've got some really happy kids over on the other side of that fence. Can y'all hear them? They're laughing and jumping and playing and swimming. So sorry if I'm having to speak a little bit louder, but those kiddos are having a good time. So we're also going to learn in phase 3 how to reinforce all of the new habits and what you can do to best support yourself in the last 2 phases of the program. So I'm going to leave you with this tonight. Look at contrast as your most loving teacher. Deborah, we are all creatures of habit. There is no two ways about it. But you know what? We can command those habits. All it takes is a few of these 28-day experiences before you'll rewrite the entire hardware of your hind brain. And you won't even recognize that person that felt vulnerable to all of those temptations in life. You will rewrite your entire program, and in doing so, you will rewrite your entire future. So yes, we are absolutely creatures of habit. So just know that contrast blesses you whether it's redirecting your life or strengthening you, because the reward on the other side of the struggle is so brilliant and so wonderful and so waiting for you to walk through that momentary physical or emotional pain to get to the reward of the joy that lies on the other side of it. Phase 2 it's the challenge, it's the rut, it's the war, but it's what makes everything possible. You guys are doing so fantastic, and I'm so happy to have you as part of my life, part of my extended family. You bring me so much joy, and just know that we are going to get there one day at a time. We are going to be on day 20 tomorrow. I cannot believe it. We have another 9 days together, 20 through 28, and then we're going to fly solo for a little while before I re-up another 28-day experience. So you guys live a blessed life. Go out there, be a blessing. And I hope that you impacted somebody today through your love and your positive spirit. And you bring so much joy to my heart. I'm so happy to have you as part of my life. So love with your whole heart, and I will talk to you first thing tomorrow morning. Deborah, you have a good night. Thank y'all for joining me. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.